Kidneys. In kidneys, we will cover these topics: introduction, location, axis, parts and surfaces, relation of the kidneys, and macrostructure of the kidneys. The kidneys are a pair of essential excretory organs having the size of 11 cm in length, 6 cm in breadth, and 3 cm in thickness or anterior to posterior diameter. Roughly, weight of kidney is 135 to 150 gram and shape of kidney is bean shaped. Here you can appreciate the bean shaped kidney. Next is the location. Each kidney is situated retroperitoneally in the posterior abdominal wall. Here you can appreciate the posterior abdominal wall by the side of the vertebral column. So here you can appreciate the vertebrae and extends from 12 thoracic vertebrae to 3rd lumbar vertebrae. Right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney due to the presence of the right lobe of the liver. Because of this, transpyloric plane passes through the upper part of the hilum of the right kidney and lower part of the hilum of the left kidney. So here you can see this is transpyloric plane passes from the upper part of the hilum of right kidney and the lower part of the hilum of the left kidney. Now the axis of the kidneys. Kidney has two axes, long axis and transverse axis. The long axis of kidney is directed downward and laterally. So here you can see long axis directed downward and laterally. That means upper end is near to the vertebral column compared to the lower end. Another is transverse axis. So here you can appreciate the transverse section of the kidney. The transverse axis of the kidney is directed laterally and backward due to the presence of the sloping paravertebral gutter. So here you can appreciate the paravertebral gutter on the side of the vertebrae. This is the paravertebral gutter and it is sloping, and due to this the transverse axis is directed laterally and backward. Next is the parts and surfaces. Kidney has superior pole, inferior pole, lateral and medial borders, anterior and posterior surfaces. The lateral border of kidney is convex and medial border is convex in upper and lower part, but in the middle it is concave. This concave middle part is known as a hilum. Hilum. There are some structure which enter and leave through the hilum in relation of anterior to posterior or before backward. The most anterior you can appreciate a collapsed structure. This is renal vein. Then there is a renal artery and most posterior is renal pelvis, which will continue as ureter. So you can appreciate three structure: most anterior renal vein, then artery and then renal pelvis. You can also compare this diagram with this diagram. The most anterior over here is the renal vein, then renal artery, and most posterior is the renal pelvis. So kidney has anterior and posterior surfaces. So anterior surface of the kidneys are convex and faces anterior-laterally. Here you can appreciate the convex anterior surface of the kidney and directed anterior-laterally. The posterior surface of the kidneys is almost flat and faces posterior-medially. So you can see the anatomical position of the kidney. The kidney in anatomical position, the anterior surface should be placed anterior-laterally and posterior surface posterior-medially. The upper pole should be near to the midline and lower pole little away from the midline. And look for the three structures. Put most anteriorly renal vein, then renal artery, and then the pelvis, renal pelvis. Now the relations on the kidneys. The relations on the anterior surface differ on two sides, but on the posterior surface relations are almost similar. So first we will discuss the anterior surface relation. So starting with the right kidney anterior surface. The anterior surface of the right kidney in the superior pole is related to the suprarenal gland, that is right suprarenal gland, and this area is known peritoneal. Below that, this part is related to the right lobe of the liver and separated from the kidney by the pouch of peritoneum, that is Morrison pouch or right hepatorenal pouch. So you can appreciate this part is related to the hepatorenal pouch. Below the liver there is a hepatic flexure, so this relation is for the right colic flexure or hepatic flexure, and this part is known peritoneal. Below this flexure, there is a relation of the coils of jejunum, and the most medial part, the medial border, this part is related to the second part of the duodenum or descending part of the duodenum, which is again known peritoneal relation. Again, you can appreciate in situ diagram. Here, this part near the hilum, the medial border, this part is related to the descending or second part of the duodenum. The upper pole is related to the right suprarenal gland, and this part will be related to the right lobe of the liver separated by the hepatorenal pouch. Then this part by the hepatic flexure, and then the lower part by the coils of the jejunum. Now the relations of anterior surface of the left kidney. The superior pole of the left kidney is related to the left suprarenal gland, which is known peritoneal relation. This triangular peritoneal area, this part, is related to the stomach, and stomach is separated from the kidney by the cavity of the lesser sac. This part at the lateral border of the kidney and adjoining anterior surface, it is related to the spleen. So here you can appreciate the relation of the spleen. Again, it is peritoneal relation. Below the spleen, there is a location of the splenic flexure. So this part is related to the left colic flexure or splenic flexure. After the splenic flexure, colon continues as descending colon. So this part is related to the descending colon, and these areas are known peritoneal relation. This part across the hilum of the kidney, this part is related to the body of the pancreas and splenic vessels, and again relation is known peritoneal. This part on the lower pole and the large part of the anterior surface is related to the coils of jejunum, and this is the peritoneal area because jejunum is intraperitoneal structure. Here you can appreciate here the upper pole is the relation of the left suprarenal gland. Then this part is related to the stomach, And here are the splenic vessels, and splenic vessels runs behind the stomach. So this part is will be related to the stomach. These splenic vessels ends and supply the spleen. So this part will be related to the spleen. Below the spleen there will be a splenic flexure, and after the splenic flexure colon continue as descending colon. So this part will be related to the descending colon. This part here is the relation of pancreas, known peritoneal, and this large part on the anterior surface and the lower pole is related to the coils of the jejunum, and it's a peritoneal relation. The relations on the posterior surface. The relation on the posterior surfaces are divided into upper and lower part. In the upper part, you can appreciate the relations of 11th and 12th rib on the left kidney, but there is only relation of 12th rib on the right kidney, because right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney. There is also relation of diaphragm taking origin from the medial and lateral arcuate ligament. Here you can appreciate the medial and lateral arcuate ligament. Between the diaphragm and ribs, there is a costodiaphragmatic recesses of the pleura. So, from outward to inward, there is ribs, intercostal space, then costodiaphragmatic recesses of pleura, and then the diaphragm. In the lower part, there are three muscle relations from medial to lateral side. The most medial one is the psoas major muscle, covered by the iliopsoas fascia. Then quadratus lumborum muscle, covered by the anterior layer of the thoracolumbar fascia. And the most lateral is the transversus abdominis muscle, covered by the fascia transversalis. At the lower margin of the lateral arcuate ligament, you can appreciate subcostal nerve and vessels coming out at the lower border of the 12th rib. So here you can appreciate subcostal nerve and vessels. At the lateral border of the psoas major muscle, you can appreciate this nerve over here. This nerve is the iliohypogastric nerve, the branch of lumbar plexus from the L1 spinal segment, coming out at the lateral border of the psoas major muscle, then run downward and laterally at the anterior surface of the quadratus lumborum muscle. And here it appears a fascia transversalis. Just below that, there is another nerve coming out from the lateral border of the psoas major muscle. This nerve is ilioinguinal nerve. Again, the branch of the lumbar plexus coming from the L1 segment. So these are the structure related on the posterior surface. You can also appreciate in this diagram, this one is the kidney. Here is the iliohypogastric nerve. And this one is the ilioinguinal nerve. You can also appreciate this muscle over here. This muscle is most medial muscle is psoas major muscle, and this one is the quadratus lumborum muscle. On the anterior surface of quadratus lumborum muscle, you can appreciate the iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerve. You can also appreciate the psoas minor muscle over here on the anterior surface of the psoas major muscle. It is occasionally present. Here you can also appreciate the relation on the posterior surface. In the upper part, you can appreciate relation of 12th rib on the right side and relation of 11th and 12th rib on the left side. In the lower part, you can appreciate the most medial muscle is the psoas major muscle. Then this is quadratus lumborum muscle, which has been cut. The most lateral one will be the Transversus abdominis muscle. Again, it has been cut. This line is the transversus abdominis muscle. You can also appreciate subcostal nerve at the lower border of the 12th rib. Here is a subcostal nerve. And the iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerve at the lateral border of the psoas major muscle. The relation here you can also appreciate relation on the posterior surface. This is the psoas major muscle taking origin from the body of the lumbar vertebra and covered by the iliopsoas fascia. This is the quadratus lumborum muscle covering the transversus of the vertebra and covered by the anterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia. And here is the transverse abdominis muscle and taking origin from the thoracolumbar fascia. Here you can appreciate the origin of the transverse abdominis muscle from the thoracolumbar fascia. These are three muscles on the posterior surface of the kidney. Now the macrostructure of the kidney. So this is the coronal section of the kidney. This renal substance consists of outer cortex and inner medulla. Here you can appreciate the renal medulla, this structure, which consists of 8 to 18 renal pyramids. So these triangular structures are the renal pyramids. The parts of the cortex in between the renal pyramids is the renal column. So, one renal pyramid along with the cap of the renal cortex and adjacent part of the renal column is known as the renal lobe. Again, I am repeating. This is the renal pyramid, and then this is half part renal column on the both sides, and this cap of the renal cortex. These all constitute the renal lobe or the kidney lobe. These pyramids opens at the renal papilla. So this structure is the renal papilla. Then this continue as minor calyx. So this structure you can appreciate over here is the minor calyx. Minor calyx joins and form the major calyx. So this structure is the major calyx. And the major calyx finally continues as renal pelvis. So this structure is a renal pelvis, and then further it will continue as a ureter. The space between this. So here you can appreciate the space between the minor calyxes or over here. This space is renal sinus, which is filled by the perinephric fat. So here you can appreciate the fatty tissue, and this one is the perinephric fat in the renal sinus. So this is all about the renal macrostructure of the kidney.
Now we will discussing about the anatomical position of the kidney. This is the kidney of right side. So how we can say it's the kidney of right side? First thing, look for the structure at the hilum. This is the renal vein most anteriorly, then this is the renal artery, and then most posterior is the renal pelvis, which continue as a ureter. So place the renal vein most anteriorly and renal pelvis or ureter most posteriorly. Structure at the hilum. Now about the axis of the kidney. I have told you about long axis and transverse axis of kidney. So first, long axis of the kidney. The long axis of kidney should be directed laterally and downward. So this is the long axis of the kidney. Passing from upper end to the lower end. So upper pole should be directed more towards the midline than the lower pole. So here you can see now the long axis of the kidney is directed laterally and downward. Next is the transverse axis. Transverse axis of the kidney should be directed laterally and backward. Now, for that, bring the medial border more anteriorly than the lateral border. Now you can see the upper pole is near the midline, then the lower pole. The medial border is more anterior than the lateral border. This is the anatomical position of the kidney. So now one more thing you should remember, if you hold the kidney like this, in here also renal vein is most anterior, but you can see the ureter is kinking. Here ureter is kinking. So this is the wrong position of the kidney. But when you hold the kidney like this, the ureter is going down. So this is the right kidney, and this is the anatomical position of the right kidney.
Thanks for watching. How was the video? Do let me know in comment section. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon for more updates. Have a great day.